Why does a person need money? This question sounds, of course, a little absurd, because money determines, well, if not everything, then almost everything in our lives. For money, especially today, you can buy anything and anyone. That is why they are so valuable to us. Actually, I am not going to argue with this. Money is really important to us, and we, of course, should strive for it. But there is one point that does not give me peace. If money is so important to us, if it makes people happy, then why are some wealthy people sometimes so worried and so unhappy, despite the amount of money they have? Something is clearly missing from our sight. We definitely do not attach importance to something, and perhaps this something is much more important than money. What is it that can be more important than money? Let's figure it out. But first, let's turn our attention to the importance of money for the system in which we all live today, and think about why a person needs money, from the point of view of its influence on himself and on this system. Money, without any exaggeration, makes a person a person. And we need it not just there, to buy all sorts of things and pay for various services. We need it to maintain stability and order in our, conditionally civilized world. Each of us, thanks to the presence of money, is forced to do something, and not just lie on the couch all day long, and it is thanks to money that a person maintains a certain discipline in his life. We want to live, and for life we need money. We all need it, and therefore, for the sake of this very money, we are ready to work for the good of society, thereby developing this society. And what do we do with the money we earn? After all, we do not paste it over toilets, we spend it on things we think are necessary. So, when we spend our money, we feel how money gives energy to this world, how it manages it, how it controls it. After all, we do not buy things or services for money, we buy people for money. We force people to do something for us with our money. People obey money, and our money obeys us, and we obey the system that controls all money, and this submission allows the system to keep each of us under control. If we give up money, the world will simply fall apart. All this illusory stability that we are so accustomed to will immediately be replaced by chaos, in which people will turn into animals. This has already happened in world history, and more than once, and most likely, in the future we will again face global social madness due to problems with money, because the modern economy has long been bursting at the seams. So, friends, we need to think not only about ourselves when it comes to money, we need to think about the entire system as a whole, thanks to which we live in a relatively calm world. I emphasize relatively calm. I understand that much in this world looks terrible and imperfect. But imagine what it would be like if there was no money. How would we interact with each other? Isn't it the same as how people interact with each other today in hot spots, where everything is decided by force of arms? We need to look at money more broadly in order to understand what kind of system it has allowed us to build, and how much each of us depends on this system. I would be glad to tell you that we are so smart that we can do without any money, but that is not true. We are not smart at all and not at all reasonable, but we are trying to be, and perhaps the time will come when our reasonableness will help us build a more perfect and more just world. However, in this imperfect world, it is possible to keep the masses of people from devouring each other, not only by force of arms, but also by the ideological force that money possesses. As long as we play by the rules we have invented, we will live in a civilized world, or rather, in the world that we consider civilized, but as soon as we abandon these rules without offering anything better in return, anarchy with all its charms will immediately begin. So let's be smarter. If we disagree with something, for example, with the monetary system, we can, of course, criticize it, but if we criticize it, we must offer something in return. And having offered something in return, we must do what we offer ourselves. We ourselves must implement our innovation into life, and having implemented this something new, we must be responsible for the result. That's it, and no other way. And if everything starts with criticism and ends with it, then keep your opinion, you know what it is, to yourself, because no one is interested in it and no one needs it. And as we can see, so far no one has offered anything better that could replace money for us, nor has anyone implemented it, not to mention someone taking responsibility for this or that innovation. Therefore, in the near future and in the present, we will live by the law of money, and we will try to succeed in our current system, despite all its imperfections. And I assure you, each of us has a chance to live a good life. And now we will move on to discussing our personal interests related to money. Needs: we all have basic minimum needs that we must satisfy with all our might. Do you know your basic needs? These are the very needs that keep you alive and that your instincts push you to satisfy. Whether we like it or not, Mother Nature designed us to fight for life and for the continuation of life, which means we are forced to strive to satisfy our basic needs. People do not need money itself, and never did. They always needed real material and non-material values, the list of which is not so long in fact. Do we need to eat? We do. This means that we need to get food, which is easiest to buy today. We can't hunt and gather, in the 21st century. Well, yes, you can grow something at your dacha, but for the sausage that our citizens love so much, you need to go to the store, and there it costs money. Do we need a roof over our heads? We do. And we have to either buy an apartment or a house, or rent a place, and for this, we need money again. Do we need health? Of course we do. Without health, life is not sweet. And in order to maintain this health, we need to look after it, and if we get sick, we need to get treatment, and for all this we again need money. Well, and so on down the list. You yourself know very well what you simply cannot live without. Some people even resort to money to satisfy their sexual instinct, because you have to pay for pleasure. We are civilized people. So it turns out that no matter what you do, you have to pay money for everything, and we cannot refuse the things we really need. We are not going to lie down in a coffin alive, after all. If we talk about the minimal needs of a person, then to satisfy them, you don't need too much money. Another thing is that people, in addition to bread, also want circuses, and at the same time freedom. And freedom for an unreasonable person is when you can cause a row on a plane, threatening passengers and crew members, when a drunk pig gets behind the wheel and causes an accident, including a fatal one, and then pays off responsibility with a bribe, and so on. In general, this is when you can do whatever you want and not be held responsible for it. This is exactly how the rabble understands freedom, who need money, and in large quantities, to satisfy their pig needs. And what's interesting is that the more money you give a pig, the more piggishness you get from it. But there are also people who, having gained freedom thanks to money, begin to create and benefit both themselves and society. It is a pity that there are not many such people, because they really do make the world a better place, using the opportunities that money and the freedom they buy with it give them. As for spectacles, there are more than enough of them today. Today, even war is shown on TV as if it were some kind of action movie, despite the fact that people die in war for real, and often, for absolutely nothing. Getting a thrill from the suffering of others indicates a low level of intelligence of the person receiving it, not to mention the lack of any morality, which, if present, elevates a person above nature. If we talk about talk shows that debilitate people, then this goodness is now selling like pies at a train station. And all this stupid entertainment leads people to live in one big and stinking toilet, the stench of which they do not like, but at the same time, they do not refuse to shit under themselves. So, for degradative parasitic needs, people also really need money, and in incomparably greater quantities than the amount required to satisfy minimal needs. Well, what can I say? We ourselves make our lives the way we have them today. Money has absolutely nothing to do with it. Everything depends on our decisions, on the decisions of each of us. People, for the most part, spend much more money today on entertainment than on their own health and education. I don't know about you, but for me, being a healthy and smart person is much more important than all the stupid laughter and endless emotions, from which a person rapidly degrades and his life becomes so passive that he is ready to endure any humiliation and any lawlessness, because he can't do anything about it, because of his own stupidity. According to them, nothing depends on stupid people. Well, everyone creates their own destiny, using their money in a certain way. Desires needs are needs, but there are also desires, for the satisfaction of which a person also needs money, and not a small amount. Needs, even if they are unnatural, can in principle be satisfied if you try. They do not require too much money, but to satisfy a person's desires, you should not even try, as A.S. Pushkin's fairy tale, The Fisherman and the Fish, teaches us, because it is not possible to do this. People are always not enough of everything, no matter how much you give them, it is still not enough for them. This is a repeatedly confirmed fact. Moreover, the more stupid a person is, the greedier he is, because he does not even really understand what and why he wants, he just needs everything and more. Advertising counts on this unconscious stupidity when it creates an image of some product that a person simply cannot do without, although he could before. Desires are always ahead of a person's capabilities, and greed, meanwhile, as you and I know, does not lead to anything good. In general, desires themselves are very useful for us. If not for them, we would simply not know what to live for, our life would have absolutely no meaning, we would simply wither without our desires. We need to want something in order to strive to get it, and it is precisely due to this desire, to live an active and interesting life. Lying on the stove and not dreaming about anything and not wanting anything means wasting your life, means not living at all. In addition, no society can achieve a sufficiently high standard of living if it is not properly motivated to work on improving its own quality. We must constantly learn, we must work efficiently and conscientiously, we must correct all our mistakes and bear full responsibility for ourselves and our behavior in order to live well. And if people do not want to live well, they do not work on themselves, they only shit under themselves and around themselves. Therefore, it is good that we have people with great dreams and an abundance of all kinds of desires, for the satisfaction of which they need money, for which they are ready to work. And it is money in this sense that is a very good incentive, much better than fear. After all, fear, although it is a good incentive, but it turns people into cattle, stupid and lazy, deprived of any independence, any creativity. Cattle are passive and indifferent to everything, to eat and sleep is their main desire. And in order to live well, you need to be able to demand, both from yourself and from other people. You need to be demanding of life, of yourself and of other people. You just don't need to look at other people, at their work and way of life, you shouldn't forget about yourself either, but when it comes to receiving money, everyone is healthy, but when it comes to working for it, working well, no one is there. Well, almost no one. You and I are normal people, right? So, human desires are a useful thing, they lead him to the best, which is not the enemy of the good, as some canned brains believe, the best is a friend of man. Striving for the best, we develop and improve, and being content with the good, we slowly degrade. And a person who wants to make his life better will certainly be active, but whether this activity will be creative or destructive depends on the quality of our education. But in general, wanting more is useful, there is nothing to even talk about. You want a new car, great, think about how to earn it. No need to get into debt up to your ears in order to satisfy this desire as quickly as possible. Otherwise you will turn into a drug addict who is looking for the easiest way to get high. Who will provide you with such a path? Someone will allow you to get everything you want without stress. Except for swindlers and con artists, no one. Only they won't give you anything, they'll promise, but they won't give, but they'll get a good buck from you. So you have to do everything yourself, friends, with your own mind, your own persistence, with your own hands. No one needs you, and especially your desires, except yourselves. No one will break their ass for you. You have many desires, I understand this perfectly well, and therefore you need even more money to satisfy these desires, and to have something left, just in case. Don't worry, you will have money if you don't fool around in your life, but work on yourself, learn and improve. There are many people in our world, and they all want something, they all dream of something. But there are few quality people, and it is they who manage to realize many of their dreams and desires. Money is money, everything is clear with it, you need it to satisfy your desires, and actually, why does a person need money if he has no desires? Why should he live without desires at all? But it is not only you who have desires, but also other people who want everything and more no less than you. Moreover, the more they get, the more they want. And what did you think? Do you think, why do people need a lot of money to solve their current problems and that's it, to calm down? Nothing of the sort. Appetite comes, as we know, with eating, so, wanting a car today, tomorrow you can already wish to have your own yacht, and at the same time a palace with peacocks. Well, it does not hurt to want, you just need to understand that it is not enough to just want something, to desire something, you also need to act wisely in order to get what you want. And for this, you need to learn, and not just anything, but first of all the ability to earn money, the ability to use it, protect and increase it. And at the same time, you need to learn how to interact with people, how to influence them and how to manage them, which I have written about many times in my articles. Your actions in this life must be literate, otherwise, you will not be able to realize your dreams, unless you become a bandit, which I do not advise you to do. That's how it is, friends, we all need money for one purpose or another, but where can we get it, for all of us? Someone will have to stand and smoke on the sidelines, while the most savvy human beings will get great pleasure from life, thanks to their wealth and power. But I think that you and I will definitely not be among these losers who will watch life from the sidelines. We are developing and improving ourselves, on the pages of this site, which means that we will grab our piece of the pie, we will definitely grab it. We have plenty of desires, and we know that we need money in order to realize them, which means the goal is clear, we need to become smarter and get involved in the fight for the fattest pieces of the pie. We were not born to lie on the stove, we were born to make a fairy tale come true. Or to make our life a fairy tale. Decide for yourself why you are here. Is it possible to live without money? We are getting closer to the answer to the question I asked myself and you at the very beginning of the article. What is more important to us than money? What does not give us a feeling of absolute happiness, even when we have a lot of money? We are getting closer to the answer to this question, but we are not there yet. And so, let's think about the question we have already considered, also at the beginning of the article, about life without money, but now from the position of exclusively our personal interests, and not from the position of global interests. After all, in order to understand in all details the need for something, we should imagine a situation in which we do not have this something. Right? So let's think about what each of us will do without money, and what we will all lose by giving it up. Will we be able to live, well, not completely without money, but let's say, without a lot of money, without that amount of money, having which a person feels quite confident? I know that among you there are people, there can't be any, who, to put it mildly, are not doing very well with money, so the question of how to survive in this world of money, being a poor person, is clearly of interest to some of you. Of course, we can do without them, without this money, and some people, by the way, do without them, but our life, in this case, will be very hard. Therefore, it is important for us to understand what kind of life awaits those of us who, by the will of fate, are already, or can become, a poor person. In a world where money decides, if not everything, then a lot, it is difficult to do without them. However, given their artificial origin, we can safely assume that a normal, comfortable life without money is quite possible. Another matter is what this life will be like, in terms of our interaction with each other. Money itself is not found in nature, we invented it for our lives, so that they would simplify it for us. Only, due to our imperfect human nature, we, as always, screwed up, since for most people, money not only did not simplify life, it, on the contrary, complicated it for them. What does money give to a modern person? What advantages does he receive by having it over those who do not have it? And is there anything to replace money with? Money is power. Money gives a person power, the importance of which is difficult to overestimate, taking into account the opportunities it provides. In any case, as long as most people obey money, and not common sense, as long as they are so weak and dependent that they can do without money, when interacting with each other, money will have power over them. You pay a person money, and he is ready to do something for you for it. Just think about it. A person is ready to obey you for money, he is ready for money, in some sense, to become your slave. And what other questions can there be about money in this case, if with their help you can subjugate such an aggressive creature as a person to your will? It is clear that without them, it will be possible to force people to do something either with the help of some new ideology or by force. So think about what prospects await us if we refuse money. And, by the way, those financial tycoons who today are like cheese and butter, do not want to lose their power. They own money and do nothing, just eat, sleep, have fun, get high from life, and at the same time everyone obeys them. This is a fairy tale, not life. Well, can they allow someone to deprive them of all this? Money is recognition, high status, respect. Continuing with the theme of power, we should pay special attention to such things as recognition, high status, and respect that rich people have. If you have a lot of money, you will be respected, not always and not by everyone, of course, but by many and often. Paradoxically, for some reason many people respect those who essentially live at their expense. Either this is some kind of slave instinct making itself known, or people are simply accustomed to respecting power, due to their unreasonableness, and money is, among other things, power, or something else. But the fact remains that rich people receive recognition in society, they are respected, and some of them are even, to some extent, worshipped. And all thanks to money, which, by the way, can be obtained in various ways, including through theft. The high status in society that a person receives thanks to money allows him to feel like a successful person in life. True, some fat hamsters become a little arrogant because of their wealth and begin to see those to whom they owe this wealth as cattle, rabble, livestock, dirt, and so on. And their attitude towards the people becomes appropriate. How cynical this is, decide for yourself, and at the same time think about what we could respect each other for if we didn't have money. Money is freedom. We all dream of freedom, only few of us understand what it is in general, freedom, but the fact that money makes us more free is a fact, and we know it. At least, not going to work and not working for someone else, that is already a great happiness. I understand that some people just dream of a good job, and here I am talking about some kind of freedom from the employer for whom our schools prepare us to work. Well, friends, everyone has their own dreams, depending on the situation in which each of us finds ourselves. A drunk dreams of booze, a homeless person dreams of food from the garbage, a soldier dreams of getting a good night's sleep, and a person who is placed in inhumane conditions of existence, who has never seen anything in his life except a barracks, dreams of work. That is why we study, that is why we develop, so as not to dream of slave chains, but to dream of a normal life in a post-industrial society, in which not shock slave labor, but a bright mind makes the world a better place. Therefore, there is no need to strive for the values of yesterday. They have outlived their usefulness, we no longer need them. Look to the future and seek your happiness in everything new, better, and more worthy. Money will help you gain more freedom, but it is better for you to earn this money, and not steal it, as oligarchs do, because money will make you a free person only in a favorable environment in which people content with life live, and not creatures brutalized by hunger and injustice, struggling for survival. Money gives a person a certain freedom, but it does not free him from the society that creates real values for this money, which we all need and for which we exchange our money. So, think about it, if there is no money, by means of what will you gain freedom? If there is no such thing as financial freedom, what will replace it? The force of arms? And do you know how to use it? Well, I think what has been written above is quite enough for us to understand how important a role money plays in our lives, and why it is needed by each individual person and society as a whole. Now we know what we have thanks to money, and what we can lose by refusing it and not offering anything worthy in return. Of course, it is possible to organize life without money, but I think it is not necessary. In any case, for now, we are not ready for anything new. After all, it is not about money when we are talking about all the ugliness that happens around it, and because of it, it is about man, his predatory and parasitic nature. It is not money that is to blame for the fact that one person is drowning in luxury, while another is forced to count his miserable pennies in the store so as not to die of hunger. It is we, people, and all of us without exception, who are to blame. We are not developed enough to build a truly civilized and fair society. But I am sure that the time will come when we will become better, more qualitative and more reasonable, and money will serve faithfully and truly the whole society, and not just its individual representatives.